Hey, what's going on, VC? Cheers to the weekend. Today I'm coming at you with a video focused on Japanese punk, which is something that I know very little. Um, I'm gonna go through quite a lot of records actually. Uh, but I do not know. I don't know much. My days of you know, memorizing everything and you know, details. When you're young and everybody went through, I believe most of us, we went through a stage that, we were name droppers. We needed to know every single detail to beat the guy next to us. Those days are long gone, and memories, you know, not as good as used to be. So as a result, I start doing a list. I've been dreading. I have these records pulled out since last week. I've been dreading to do this video because I wanted to do some research to provide some information. But I started nicely on the first three bands, but then after that I just start writing the names and barely anything because I don't have time for that. You know. I just want to show records, and I want you guys to, go and listen to them on your own, and hopefully you'll find something that you like. So, nevertheless, my 2 cents on Japanese punk. So, what do I know? What do I think I know? So, I do know that Japan, during, late 70s, early 80s, during the punk explosion worldwide, it was a country asking for it. They were also going through political, social, economical, distress. So as a result of that, it was a fertile field. Japan was a fertile field for punk and everything that, that entails. So, one thing that characterizes Japanese punk, as to my understanding, is that, like anything that Japanese tend to get involved, they always go balls to the wall, extreme, a lot of shock value element, and I feel like the Japanese punk scene might have been strongly driven by, I guess that innate, energy to shock extremely. So, and a lot of you that really are into Japanese punk, in particular Japanese hardcore, which is a sound that it's nasty, is raw, is aggressive, can be bizarre at times. It's not for the faint of heart. You guys kind of probably know what I'm trying to say here. But like any other videos that I've done, focus on countries, I try to, disconnect as much as I can for the sound that made the punk scene from these particular countries well known, and throw something within the punk spectrum that you will appeal to someone that are not necessarily into this. And if you're talking about Japan, we're talking about noise, gnarly, bizarre, obnoxious, fast, furious punk. And many of these bands, they sing in broken English. You don't even understand a fucking word. Doesn't matter if they're singing in English or Japanese. Nevertheless, legendary status for the Japanese punk scene, because they embrace it and they did it uh, like you know, in a way that it did made sense, uh, you know, for their culture, and it did shape the punk scene worldwide. Extremely influential. So let's start. I need my glasses. Sometimes I need glasses, sometimes I don't. So I'm gonna start with the first band, and quite a few of these I believe I showed before. 5 minutes already, man. Put your seatbelt on. We're gonna be here for a while. So we're gonna start with the first Japanese band that I recall hearing, thanks to a fantastic compilation called the International Benefit for Peace. Comp introduced me to a lot of foreign bands from Belgium, Holland, Italy, whatever. But it did introduce me to one of the Japanese finest bands, and we're talking about Gizm. This is their first LP, Death Station, and this is the second, Military Affairs Neurotic. So Gizm, let's see what I wrote about Gizm. Formed in Tokyo, 1981, known for their extreme live performance. It's just like punk, hardcore with metal riffs. It is. But I remember the first time I heard Gizm was the song Endless Blockades for the Pussyfooter. Whatever the fuck that means. That thing blew me away. In my mind I was like, what is this fucking insanity? What is this? So, and it made me seek more. Gizm, legendary band. Randy Yoshida, fantastic guitar player. Probably one of the first ones bringing classic elements of heavy metal to the punk sound, and he did it like no one. And in this record you can hear his technicality, his precision. Fantastic. Gizm, I don't need to talk much more about this. Fantastic. So I gotta mention Sakebe Yokoyama, the lead singer that is known for his antics, bringing a blowtorch to the stage, all kinds of insanity. That's Japan Punk 101 insanity. Next one, from Tokyo as well, 1983. This is just fast raging thrash hardcore. Their first album, Kill Ugly Pop. I could show that one, but I'm showing this comp because it's easy to find, cheap, called Lip Cream, Kill the IBM, because it does have the Kill IBM recordings, which is probably my favorite. It's a little bit more raw. Also has the 7-inch Lonely Rock, which is legendary. Lip Cream are fantastic. Check them out. And they, as an hardcore band, they do manage to cover Born to Lose by Johnny Thunders, which is hilarious. It's actually pretty well done. So, am I going too fast or too slow? I struggle to pace myself in these videos because I know I have a lot. I know I don't want to be here too long, but also I want to wrap things quick. Cheers. No cigarettes, guys. I'm working on it. Thank you for the moral support. We cannot talk about Japanese punk without talking about legends. Of course, I didn't write down where they were formed. Nevertheless, I'm talking about Anarchy. Since their debut, Anarchy is just like rowdy 77 punk. They sing in Japanese. This is their debut. I love it. And one thing about it is like the quality of the production of the Japanese punk records. It's over the top. It's great. As I said, everything they do, they do it almost professionally. I'll say it. It's just like well produced, well played. It seemed like in Japan there was no room for oh, let's do a punk rock band without knowing to play a fucking instrument. Seems like everybody was an accomplished musician, or at least they had that samurai mentality that they will just, reinforce discipline in their lives to actually learn how to play, and everything that they did that I'm familiar with is fantastic when it comes to musicianship. Anarchy, not exception to the rule. Legendary 77 punk style. This is a great debut. They covered Eater, Stiff Little Fingers, Clash, even Chuck Berry. If you're not into listening to a Japanese band cover classic 77 punk tunes, go check their second album, which is fantastic as well. Anarchy, classic. So another classic from 1980 from Fukushima. This record I've showed this before, came out in 1982. Endo Mishiro, lead singer, was an activist, I believe Vietnam vet. This guy was like 30 years old when they put the band together in 1980. So, but she's amazing. The sound of this record was kind of like, still feels somehow innovative to a certain extent within the punk realm, but this is like pure, raw, in your face 77 punk rock tapping on early hardcore. And of course I'm talking about Stalin, Stop the Jap. Any punk rock collection needs this record. It's as essential as Nevermind the Bollocks. Okay, 1986, Tokyo. I decided to throw this one in the mix, so we won't be talking about hardcore and noise for the next 30 minutes. 1986, Tokyo. That's all I wrote. 1986, Tokyo. What do I have to say about this? A band that was formed by 4 sisters, and I think most of the recordings in this album, this comp, are the 4 sisters playing, but then they evolved and they have multiple members and all that. Band that was made popular because of Tarantino's Kill Bill. I'm talking about the 5, 6, 7, 8s. This is the early days, 89, 96. It's just like garage, rockabilly-ish, with a punk attitude sound. Some people love them. One of my good friends, he's actually in Japan. He just arrived there today. He goes there like once a year or multiple times a year, and we saw them multiple times, and and he likes punk rock, and he always said, "Oh fuck, that sucks. He's boring as fuck." But anyways, I like them. Never saw them, but in record they sound good. If you like garage, rockabilly, fuzzed, surfy, with a punk hint, the 5, 6, 7, 8s are great, and this is my favorite material by them. Nagoya, 1977, one of the most influential bands. And today I'm not going to say my favorite. I'm just going to say one of my favorites, which I showed here before. Today I picked a different record. I'm showing Star Club. I'm showing This Is Punk. Fantastic band. This is, to my ears, this is, for me, Star Club. They were for Japan, where the Pistols were for England, where the Ramones were for New York. Yeah, where the Saints were for Australia. That's it. This is an amazing band. I've seen countless live performance of these guys on YouTube. It just blows me away. their presence, their style, their energy. This is a classic, man. If you're not into Star Club, I don't know, man. There's no excuse. Classic. This is a classic one. Hello, New Punks, which I showed is a classic one. I'm gonna show this one too. This is a bootleg called Cool Posers. Compiles the singles from 77 to 83, which is Goodwill, Club, Take One, Club Star, Shut Up, and the Star Club number 6. This is great. Just showing because I don't know, probably not easy to come by, but probably if you do, it will not be expensive at all, and it's well worth it. Sounds great. Has a super cool black and white poster inside. Yeah, and look at that. Yeah, amazing. Star Club. 1982. An absolute classic, not just Japanese hardcore classic, but worldwide punk hardcore classic. Came out on Dogma Records 1983. No Side by the Comes. This is just like, for many, many years, this was my favorite Japanese punk record. Female, raging, ferocious, yet melodical vocals over some metal influenced guitar riffs and solos. This is a masterpiece. The Comes, No Side. Talking about masterpieces, I'm gonna show a legendary trashy hardcore band, Gauze. Talked about Gauze before, previous videos. Check it out. This is still my favorite album. Throughout their discography, they just became heavier and heavier and heavier. But here, that's what it's for me. It's where they shine. They're still embryonic. Angst to it. This is fantastic. Fantastic. Guys, fuckheads. Let me turn this. Alright, where we are. 17. We're doing good. $1983 now. Tokyo. I do love this. This is a compilation. One thing that I should have mentioned before, but I know most of you that are into Japanese punk, you guys know about the flexis, how extremely rare and expensive they are. So I'm gonna show this LSD 1983 Tokyo. This is one of my favorite Japanese hardcore bands. This is brutal, dementing, blistering hardcore comp. This came out on Schizophrenic Records from Canada, 2005, I believe. It does compile their first flexi from 1984, first EP plus the track from Great Punk Hits, the studio demo and live. This is fantastic. This is for any hardcore fan. This is a must. Absolutely love this record. Thank God for reissues and bootlegs. Otherwise, we wouldn't be listening to Japanese punk, or at least early Japanese punk. 1981. A banger. Absolutely banger. One of my favorites. The Execute. Spend Your Money. This is a bootleg from the 80s. Yep, there were bootlegs in the 80s. This is a bootleg from the 80s, which compiles the first flexi, the second EP, the third EP, one unreleased track. This is amazing. This is just ferocious, classic hardcore played with a precision that you need to make proper sushi. Nobody wants fucking 7-Eleven sushi. Precision, baby. Yeah, fantastic. Their first flexi is the first flexi or the first EP. I think it's the first EP. It's considered by many one of the best hardcore EPs of all time. Like along with Negative Approach and all that. So Execute is a classic band. I know a store here in Southern California that does have their, not the flexi, the first EP on the wall for $3,000. Just to give you a picture. So classic from 1983. This came out on 1989 on Selfish Records, and this is the amazing Dead Side. I can't wait for September because they're supposedly playing in LA. A fantastic record. This is like that Discharge, D-Beat influenced punk rock meeting early New York hardcore, like The Abused, Causeful Alarm, you know, that kind of thing. But so tight, like perfectly played. This is a banger of a record. That Side. Early 80s. I should have known where these guys are from. But I guess I didn't do my homework. Japan answered to Discharge, Disorder, influential band with chainsaw guitars, absolutely insanity of sound. Kuro, this is Complete Hardcore Damnation. Of course, he has the Uda Helpless, so acclaimed EP, fantastic classic band. If you're not familiar with Kuro, yeah, you are wasting your time. Hurry up. And I'm gonna show this one too because this is a bootleg. I got this in the 90s. And these guys, I believe they were from Germany, but I decided to show these because they do have quite a few bootlegs. They all look the same. It's just like a black cover with the stickers. They have a Misfits one, which is pretty rad. They have I think a Meatman too. Yeah, if you find these, buy it. Sounds great. It's a bootleg, but it sounds great. From Kyushu, early 80s. Fucking corrosive, chaotic. Probably the godfathers of what became known as Japanese noise. Confused. This is a banger. This is a comp. 8 War, No War, Fucking War. This is a comp on Radiation Records, I believe. I don't know, but he does have the Flexi, of course, the damn Flexis. I don't know if you know, but at the time when they were putting out those Flexis in Japan, apparently nobody gave, people didn't even know. They didn't want to listen to the Flexis, so they were just recording those Flexis into tapes, and those Flexis, they were just like forgotten. That's why they're so rare. Or one of the reasons why they're so rare. Yeah, but this compiles the Nuclear Addicts, Flexi, The Contempt Authority, Take Off Line, Spending Long Night 7. Yeah, this is a banger. A banger. Gotta say, Confused throughout their career, that sound evolved to be more not as noisy, not as aggressive. It became a little bit more anthemic. Classic, Confused. Early 80s as well. This is like a comp, came out into 2021 on Relapse Records, which does compile their Final Agony EP from 1984. This is Zuo, and this is just like a fuzzier, snottier version of Gizm, without I don't want to discredit Zuo. They have their unique sound, but they do is the band that, to my ears, that is closer to that Gizm sound. This is great. Fantastic job, Relapse Records, putting these out. Fantastic. Another band from early 80s. Their first and second flexi, first 84, second 85, legendary. This is a band from Kochi City. Love this record. The Sexual compiles all that. This is like UK 82 worship, but the quality, first of all, the quality of the sound is superb, and the musicianship is just like precise. This is one of the best. If you're never listening to Japanese punk and you want to give it a go, go with the Sexual. Fantastic. Well, I'll show you. You go with these ones, with these guys. Tokyo 1985. Debut 1988 on Selfish Records. Originally started as Poison. First flexi, amazing. But this full length is just like hardcore punk perfection. I'm talking about Poison Arts, Kick Rock. Look at this cover. This is just like anthemic, fierce, amazing musicianship. This is perfect. Perfect. You can deconstruct this album and find reasons to criticize it from a negative standpoint. You will not find it. This is a banger. Anthemic, UK 82 hardcore, one of the best. Go. This is a compiles all those singles from 84 to 85. This is a band that a little bit all over the place. They do have the Oi 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 EP. So yeah, you can find UK 82. You can find more street punk approach on Japanese fashion. It's just like in your face. You don't see it coming, but it will blow you away. Absolutely classic. Go. Talking a little bit about Oi Street Punk, a band from Osaka, 1982. If you listen to them on Spotify, YouTube, you don't like their sound, I strongly encourage you to go watch some live performance, because these guys perform like Kiss do. It's just like off the charts, entertaining performance. I'm talking about Cobra. I'm showing these too. I'm showing these. It's Rarities and More from 82 to 91. Stand the Pressure is their debut. Great album. But I'm showing this one and this one because you can get everything you need to know about from Cobra on these two. Fantastic, classic, well known. Any street punk fan, any punk rock fan will like this. Cobra, just fantastic. There's no other street punk band like Cobra. No doubt about it. Next, sorry, everything is falling. 1983, this came out in 1987 on Dogma Records. Showed this before. Rose, Mosh of Ass. This is the cover from the European First Press. This is just like perfection. Hardcore crossover. Hardcore with skate rock. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic record. If you like hardcore, if you like skate rock, this is a must have. Or at least must listen. Talking about must listen, records 1983. This is like perfect punk with heavy metal fusion. This is from 1985 on Dogma Records. It's an absolute masterpiece. This is Gastunk, that song. This is a banger. It includes members of Execute and Comes, and that alone. Pretty sure you're familiar with this, but if you're not, yeah, that alone should be like, whoa, let me check that out, because yeah, it's a banger. Perfect over perfection. Okay, let me rearrange things. Where I'm at now. Okay. Okay. We're gonna end the 80s with Gas Tank. That's enough. Now we're gonna go to the 90s. A little bit to the 90s. So during the 90s, the Japanese punk scene, like any scene anywhere, didn't stop. The punk scene stopped for some people, but it never stopped for many. Classic record, love this record. This is a split with Misery. This is SDS split with Misery. This is fantastic. This band, they're from the early 90s, from Gifu, and this is like hardcore crust, super well played, a lot of like Nuclear Assault riffs, hooks. Amazing. Love this record, one of my favorite from the 80s. Well, love these guys too, but they're not Japanese, so let's leave them alone. So, let's see, I picked up some singles. So, during the 90s, there was a revival of Oi, street punk, those bands such as, there's a shit ton of American bands such as Casualties and Unseen and all that. So Japan was no different to that. And these Cox and Tom and the Boot Boys, they were probably the two most well-known bands from that period doing that snotty street punk sound. Yeah, and if you're into it, you should check this out. And I paid $5.49 for these things 25 years ago. That sounds like a lot of money 25 years ago. Well, looks like I got ripped off. Another band, oh, here it is, that I love from that time, from that period, is this band, The Solution. This came out, I don't know, this is limited to 300 copies, but this came out maybe like 15 years ago. This is re-recordings of this, because during the 90s, a lot of Japanese bands, they were coming out on the MCR company. You see it? And they were putting stuff on CD. This is fantastic. The Solution, punk, street punk with a mod feel, melodic, anthemic, mid-tempo. Great band. I love them. And since I grabbed CDs from that era, I'm going to show you this one too, which is great. United 97. Gifu. Japanese Skinheads. This one is still sealed, because I had a distro, so I got stuck with some stuff that I never sold. The Martins. Yeah, just like that classic 90s street punk. They're all good. And I'm showing this because if you come across to this, probably it's going to cost you a couple bucks. It's probably like a quarter a pound. And it's a good buy. What else I got? So, a band that is fantastic. Don't tell me I didn't grab their best record. No, I didn't. I'm not gonna grab it. But anyways, this is Crucial Section. Language isn't the only way of communication. This is like, they call it speed trash, hardcore punk rock. This is fantastic. This is for fans of Heresy, but on Japanese fashion is played tight with precision, perfection. This is classic. Strongly encourage you to grab this one. I see these once in a while on the bargain bins for like $5 or so. Yeah, it's a must. What else I got here? Extinct Government. There they are. Love these guys. UK 82 Warship Band. Fantastic. If you like Barookers, Discharge, K is UK, you'll love these guys. This way more melodic. Here they're already pushing the envelope, almost embracing the crust scene. But yeah, fantastic band. Extinct Government. Strongly recommend. Another band that I strongly recommend is this band, which I think I recommended before, Youth Anthem from Yodogawa, 1985. This is fantastic, anthemic, sing-along, skinhead, street punk. Fantastic. Check them out from the 90s. A record that came out, I believe, in 1999. And I'm going to give it to the ladies because they came, they saw, they conquered, and they were vanished. They toured with Dropkick Murphys in 2001, and these little chicks kick ass. Live, they kicked ass. Talking about Thug Murder, I listened to this on YouTube today. I was like, whoa, what a record. This is like one of the best, in this case, late 90s, early 2000s, street punk albums ever. You do not understand a word of what they say because they sing in broken English, but it's just so energetic, melancholic. It's fantastic. Check it out. I know some of you might be watching and say, "Oh my God, how did I forget about them? I saw them back in the day with the Dropkick Murphys. They were amazing." Yes, they were amazing. There's so many bands from this era that these days they're almost held as legends that they could not hold the stick to this Japanese female trio. Thug Murder, they kicked ass. Fantastic. And now, just to wrap it up, I'm going to show 3 compilations, which are a great starting point to explore Japanese punk, if you're not familiar. And I'm going to go with the classic Great Punk Hits, which has Gizm, Laffy Nose, Execute, Gizette, The Clay, and Aburadako. Yeah, Aburadako. Well, anyways. This one is my favorite. The Hardcore Unlawful Assembly, Laffy Nose, Boss, fantastic. Gizm, Cobra, Mobs, Uto, Lip Cream, and Zoo. Check this out. And this is a 90s one, which has all those goodies. These Cox, Charles Lads, Youth Anthem, Spiky Joyce, The Attacked, yeah, Exposed 82, yeah. And remember, follow, no leaders. You guys have a great weekend. Thank you for your time. I hope this is not as sloppy as ever. No, you guys take care. Cheers. Appreciate all your support.